Hello, everybody. I am Sweet Pea,
And I'm Pretty Bird.
and together we are Pretty Sweet. Welcome to Pretty Sweet Distractions tonight, where we speak unfiltered about life, love, poetry, and prowess. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the distractions in the form of open discussions on artful words. Of course, with all those words, we're going to have some rules. We're grown up people, talk about grown up things using grown up words. And sometimes we use all those words. So if you're easily offended, this may not be your bouncing tea bag, cup of tea, or whatever floats your boat. We like to have fun, poke fun, and generally have a great time. If you're down to be distracted, come hang out, chat, like, call, follow, share. Leave your opinions on our opinions and click all the hearts. Show us some love. We have live streams every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern. And tonight is all about the blank or the blank. I'm sorry, empty page. Sorry about that. An empty vessel, a blank page, a notebook ready to capture dreams, emotions, art, or thoughts. Words want to purge. Sometimes they just can't. Whether it's a new beginning or making space enough to breathe. What does a blank page represent to you? Oh, that is such a loaded question. I will say, since I was very young, I've loved the smell of new paper, of the beautiful, like when you crack one open and you can smell that paper. I just love that smell. There's something about it that intrigues me, that kind of almost orgasmic for me, as awful as that sounds. Um, it's just everything it can be. A blank page is a story, a nightmare, a fantasy, a place to cry, a place to be angry. It's so many things for me. Especially, it's always been too an escape for me. And unfortunately, that blank page also includes napkins and the backs of envelopes and all kinds of things when words just jump in my head, or I see something and I'm like, oh yeah, I might want to think about something about that, and I just write little notes here and there, and no one could ever figure out what the hell is going on where. I am very disorganized and very whatever. I should be more organized. I used to be very organized, and then as I don't know, something in my life happened, and I'm no longer organized at all. I'm very much a space cadet, which I do not like. I used to be, everything had a place, everything did this, everything did that, and I've lost that ability. Um, See, I even lost what I was talking about. Oh, but even now, right now, I counted them just for this. I have 17 journals. None of them are full. None of them even have pages that are together. They're just random. Um, and that's journals. That doesn't talk about little notebooks or notebooks here or notebooks there. Um, Although there's one notebook I've never written on or written in, even though I was told to, but it's just too precious to me. Um, I think that the blank page is almost the opposite of a blank mind. Even though you can sit there and not really want to write something, I'm a scribbler, so I don't know how many people out there that are, but I'll draw noses or faces or eyes or trees or flowers. I cannot have a pen and paper in front of me and not do something with that piece of paper. It's a very horrible addiction to be always wanting to have something in front of you that you always kind of play with or do with. A pen, I guess, is my, what do they call them? Fidget toys, which is, I guess, what that is for me. But I swear, since I first learned, what a crayon was, I've been playing with papers to try to put stories together or do this or do that. But as I've grown and all of that, it's just like it has definitely been an escape, a place to hold my tears and things like that. So a blank page, it represents a lot of my life. It represents a lot of who I am, but it also represents a lot of stories, a lot of fantasy, a lot of, barbecuing baby bones. And those that know me know I don't actually barbecue baby bones. So it's got all the potential without you can never let anyone see what you put down, or you can share it with everyone. So it has the ability to be a treasure just for yourself. It can hide all your secrets, or it can be something you're able to express to the world. And hopefully, hey, maybe they'll like it, maybe they'll hate it. It doesn't really matter to a lot of, well, it doesn't matter to me, but I know it matters to some people if they do share your work. Um, but a blank page, it's kind of an opportunity waiting to happen. So, Pre-Bird, your thoughts on the blank page in front of you?
I've got giant boxes of filled journals and notebooks and whatnot. I also have boxes of empty ones and ones that are too pretty to write in. And not that they mean anything to me, not that, because I have, they tend to not be, okay, that's not true. I suppose I'll tell the story. Okay, here we go. Um, I've been writing since I was a kid. Just my mom's a poet, and I wrote a book at 12, and my mom confiscated it. Not that it was anything salacious at all, but she's like, "Do better." I was like, "It's 185 pages, handwritten in my neatest handwriting that was passed around page by page in summer school, but to the high school kids when I was 12 fucking years old." I was very proud of that shit. And I was very disappointed not to find it in her shit when she died. I'm just saying. But I've been writing in one way or another forever. I've taken a million creative writing classes, all the things. And it's an escape. When it is full fiction, it's an escape. When it's poetry, it's catharsis. So I went and had a bunch of kids. And there's no time to write when you have a bunch of kids, and I was losing my mind a little bit, and I was overwhelmed, and I actually hadn't even had my last one yet. And two of my friends were like, they coordinated with my husband, and they're like, "We're hijacking all your children, and we're going to give her a day because she needs to get some shit out. Here you go." And they gave me two closing leather bound journals, one in a beautiful warm brown and one in black, all gilded and whatnot, and fancy fucking pens, and like 9 hours of silence. And it took me a hot minute to put any words on a page because I completely was disconnected with anything other than responsibilities and mommy things. And it ended up, that first journal, I filled it. Once I started, I filled it with all the things. And it wasn't that it was creative, it was the purging. It was all the things I hate about myself. I wrote letters as if I were my friend. And I recommend this to anyone and everyone. When you are depressed, when you kind of hate yourself, when you can't see anything good about a situation that you're in, and you feel like crap, write yourself a letter like you're talking to your best friend and she told you the same shit you just told yourself. Because I promise you, you will be a lot nicer if you're talking to your friend about it than if you're talking to yourself. And then leave it there and come back a few days later, and you'll be surprised that how much grace you give yourself when you pretend that you're not talking to you. I am just saying. And it became the beginning of me writing again because I hadn't written in 7 years. And that's a long time when you're born to write, to not write. And if you don't have a place to purge, if you don't have a way to quell your thoughts and your imagination and whatnot, if it's all internalized, it's not a healthy place to be. So they did that for me. Funny thing is that I typed it all up and I turned it in to a few literary agents, and across the board they're like, "This is fucking amazing. I don't have a market for it." It's like, it's intense, it's a lot. I think that people need to read it. I don't know how to sell it. And that was like a million years ago. So I have yet to self-publish that shit. I may or may not. But when it comes to now, um, And I've mentioned this recently, how 5 years ago, I almost died with COVID, just like, billions of other people, whatever. But it changed something in the way I process emotion, not internally, but how I then translate that into words is not a natural thing for me anymore. I never had to think about it. And so I feel disconnected and it's not okay. Um, so I went from a paper, any paper being any paper, to it being all of my frustration and emptiness. And it was very hard for me to look at pages
Mm.
and my fancy pens and all of the things, um, because it made me feel like a failure, like the one thing I was born to do, I couldn't do anymore. And I say it that way, not because I think I'm any better than anybody else, but because it was easy. It was a gift. It was this easy thing that would just happen, and I would purge whatever unfortunateness I'm going through, and then I can go about my business in a much better mood. And without that outlet, it changes what you hold on to. And so without the ability to naturally purge, it's a very hard thing to force. And it's unfortunate. So I've got a love-hate relationship with the page, with an empty page and liquid ink. Like, I love liquid ink. Liquid ink. I don't care if it's a rollerball. I don't care if it's a fountain pen. I love liquid ink. When it comes to your standard ballpoint pens and whatnot, okay, fine, it'll work, but it's different. It's less organic. It doesn't feel the page, and liquid ink does. When you write angry, it's different. When you are tentative, it's different. The ink looks different, it pulls different, it flows different, and you can tell what mood you're in, going back to read something that you wrote in liquid ink. So I love that. I have since learned how to make paper, and I like making paper, and it gives you a
Mm.
different respect for the page that you're writing on, when it doesn't bleed, when it does all this stuff, but when it is handmade. And I have many, you know, handmade journals. Some are better made than others. I love them all because it feels like a connection to yesteryear, eons gone by, when you have a simple kind of, um, open spined, leather bound book with aged pages and deckled edges. It feels fancier than it is. And it took me years to want to write in them, because you don't want to sully something beautiful that's permanent. You can't tear those pages out and not break your own heart. And you don't want to sit there and cross all the things out and do all whatever. I'm not a big crosser outer anyway. I will write a half a sentence, draw a line underneath it, date it, initial it, and move on to the next section below that until it comes up to something worthwhile, because everything that I fail to finish can be inspiration for something in the future. But I write in them now, and I started writing in them about a year ago. I've got like three of them just on the shelf above my bed, and that's just of the leather bound ones. I have a bunch of other ones, and a friend of mine sent me a purple one with purple flipping ink and a fancy fucking pen, and I love them. And I am forever thankful that they thought I was going through a time. I'm always going through something. I'm human, and I get this wonderful, beautiful gift of um this lovely, lovely ink in the best thinking bottle on beautiful paper, and it all is color coordinated and fabulous, because I love a touch of OCD. I'm down with it. And I don't write in it as much as I should, because that is, um well, it's a dark purple, and it is better suited to my darker emotions, which I have not settled into, and recently. And when I do, it is there. It is there in all its darkness, and it's dark purple ink for all of my shadowy thoughts. And it's a beautiful thing. So blank pages. So my mother was a poet, because I do not segue. So my mother was a poet. And um when she passed, she gave me all of her poetry except for one book that she wanted to make sure that everything was online, and it wasn't a finished journal. But since that had all the stuff that was already posted, she wanted me to give that to my sister. It took me a long time to get through those poems because she tends to write pain, and it's a hard thing to read your mother's pain. Um, and then I gave that one to my sister, but I still have all of her poems, all of her little pieces of she worked in an office for years, so she has those little office uh call sheets where for anybody who calls, those little things, this one called, whatever. There's memo books full of verses and ripped up envelopes, like she'll write on the back of an envelope, like not on the envelope, but on like the flap. Like
Oh,
I'm like, I cannot decipher your scribbly shits, but I love you. And I cherish all of them, every scrap of paper, every folded up little thought, all of it. And I can't imagine somebody looking at my chicken scratch one day and having it mean the world like that. It's a beautiful thing to me. And I looked at that journal that I gave my sister, and it's about half full. And she has the beginnings of things and stuff in there. And I took pictures of all the stuff that is not finished so that I had it. And because I knew I was going to give it to her because that's what she wanted. And those empty pages, those particular empty pages, because that was the book she was currently working in, are the saddest to me. And whenever I think of them, it breaks my heart because they will never be filled. Nobody will ever write in them. She will never take pen to paper again. And it's all the what could have been if, the universe had decided differently. And it's heartbreaking. So it's never just paper. It's always possibilities. It's always catharsis, therapy. I mean, where else can you curse out the world and not be judged for it? Because nobody has to read it if you don't want them to. And you can write a poem or a story or do whatever the hell you want to. And people are going to read what they read into it anyway. I have one of my favorite sayings. It's attributed to Morgan Freeman. I don't know how true that is. It is no, that post isn't about you. However, feel free to lace that bitch up and wear it. Because if the shoe fits, and and that's the thing, people are going to read what they read and whatever we write, and whatever you write, somebody's going to read it and see joy, somebody's going to read it and see pain. And it brings me to Radiohead because, of course, I'm all over the fucking place. What else is new? And they have a song called No Surprises from a million years ago. And if you read articles or see videos and interviews from back in the day, it's like, oh, this is all depression. This is all I'm gonna off myself. No, the fuck, it's not. Learn how to read. Listen, read between the lines. It's very much um I would rather no longer exist than have to live in the rut of a boring life. If you don't find joy and excitement in what you do, what the hell are you doing? And that's a completely different message than what people get from it. Yeah, depending on your mood, depending on um your mindset and all the things, you're going to read different things into those lyrics or into the feel of the song, like any piece of music. It keeps people company in different ways. And I find the beauty of words to be infinite and amazing. And so while a blank page can hold both frustration and possibilities equally, I like to lean towards possibilities. I tend to not make 1.5 million lists for all the things, but if I'm going to make a plan, I need all the lists. I need the pros, the cons. I need the cost outs. I need the do I really want to? I need the 15 lists for something that I'm going to do next week. That's going to take so much of my time that I have to make sure it's something that I want to do because I don't like quitting things halfway. So I've got like spiral notebooks full of a lot of that bullshit. And if I look at them now from years ago, I'm like, I'm a freaking genius. Why didn't I finish that? Why didn't I do that? Because you get tired of looking at it. It's like when you cook and you have to make, 120 cupcakes for the bake sale. And by the time you're done with the cupcakes, you don't want another fucking cupcake. But then 3 days later, and you've got, that batch of leftover cupcakes, and you eat a cupcake, you're like, that's a damn good cupcake. Because, sometimes you need the distance. I'm just saying, to realize how good something is when it's not, you know, when you take a step back from it. And I think that paper does that. I mean, to a different extent, and it so does, on-screen journals and all the things, because words are words. But it's different to me. It's an empty screen does not it's not organic. It is distant, it is cold. And while, words are words and it does what it does, and the poem can still be all of the feelings, it's different when you are feeling the pen or pencil drag across the paper. And vintage paper or handmade paper is a little bit more porous and has a texture versus the super smooth archival quality writing paper that we tend to buy in journals. And it glides different, and it pulls different, and it feels different. I have a different journal for um different emotions. I've got one that is just all the bullshit. Like, let me just get started, and then when something comes to the surface, I'll put it in a different one, maybe. And I find that interesting, because never in my life had I had like two or three journals out. But if my mood changes and I have because sometimes you need to write in pink, and sometimes you need to write in bright blue, and sometimes everything is black. And but what I find interesting is that I have a brown ink, and I don't do brown ink, and I've been writing in brown ink because it looks like dried blood and it does something to me. And so there's something organic about handwriting things. And when it comes to handwriting things, it breaks my heart that cursive is dying, because the flow of ink, liquid ink especially, on a page through emotion that need not disconnect when you find that perfect word. It does something. It connects things. It pulls more from you. It is an organic thing. It's different than block letters. It's different than lifting your pen up, every line. My father is very capital block letters for everything, and that's because his cursive is completely illegible. He should have been a doctor. But it's different when you write angry. It leans different. It feels different. You will read it different when you go back to it. It's just nothing compares. I might be biased, and I'm also old, so whatever. But yeah, so I might feel some kind of way.
Well, I don't think you're either. Well, maybe biased, but not old. So, Rahak, your thoughts on a blank page?
My thoughts on the blank page. Everything I write. That's my thoughts on the blank page.
Well,
But the
you
page
sound
is
really far away, Rack.
uh, but then the page is no longer blank after I write on it, right?
This is
Uh,
Right.
true.
so I mean, I listened. I listened to the verbiage of that the blurb, the blank page, and my mind went instantly to inspiration. A lot of what Pretty Bird said. I mean, she always does that. She covers the majority of everything that comes in and out of our squirrel brains. And
Here's your head talk too much. It's fine.
no, though it's not too much. It's exactly what's needed, I think. And so literally at 2 o'clock in the morning, I wrote what I did for you today. So that's essentially my idea of a blank page. What it boils down to is kind of inspiration. Like she said, the potential for anything that you want to put down. Like it could be a story, it could be anything, And the beauty of it, and I don't remember when it was even suggested to me, but when someone said, you just write it down. You don't have to let anyone see it. You don't have to anyone. Nobody has to read it. The brilliance of that struck me when the first time I heard it, and it's really very true, especially for those of us that like to pour our emotions onto the page, because sometimes in order to let go of it, we got to face it, and we can't really face it until we see it in black and white and stare it in the eye. So that's kind of what the blank page does for me. It's just that the respect for the words, and the idea of seeing it in writing, and kind of memorializing it. Um, that's what becomes very weighty and contemplative to me. So once you start doing that, and once you start looking at it, it takes on a whole different meaning. And that's why when we mentioned commenting, put your thoughts on our thoughts. The idea of I know what I'm trying to say, but when I hear a comment, it's like it tells me how well I said what I thought I was trying to say. So I love the variations in the comments, or the different thoughts, or the angles that some people take in it, because we're all individuals, and words mean different things to us. So again, the potential, the clay that is the written word, that the way we can formulate things, whether it's a song, or a poem, or free verse, or a story, whatever it is that we're chronicling. Each stroke of the pen kind of captures a different path, a different fork in the road, a different story.
Absolutely. Yeah. Blank paper has definitely taken me through a lot of hard times. Okay,
And
so
that's what toilet paper is.
oh good
OMG.
lord. Um Freebird's
You
gonna
can't tell me you've never read something that you wouldn't wipe your ass with. Don't sell.
I'm not saying that.
I
I'm
would not
witness
sully my pristine anus on some crappy words. I'm just saying.
I'm saying I would wipe my own ass with some of the stuff I've put on paper. I mean, let's be honest, especially me. So, Freebird, you put up Short Circus's work
I
and
did.
all of that stuff, and you've been very excited about it. You were excited about it when we first put this subject
I'm
up. So,
always excited about it. Short Circus is one of my favorite writers. His name is Jude Allen, and this is one of my favorite poems by him. It breaks me. It breaks me. Anyway, this is Spiral Bound by Jude Allen. There is not a link, so there's all the words. I will be reading it. I'll start that again. Spiral Bound by Jude Allen, and it goes like this. I've got a notebook. I thought here in my hour of darkness, I'd write what I wanted, what I needed to get off my chest, all the things I never got to say, all the things I never got to do. A college ruled, green covered testament of a man with a broken spirit. And I sat, holding it, pen in hand, myself for my actions and inactions, and staring blankly at those stark white, blue lined, um, tear reprimanding stained pages, image after image, flashed across memory like lightning. Each strike, fresh, trembling, and the thunder in my soul rolled through the valleys of my mind like an impending storm about to rip open the sky. But I couldn't get the echoes of her voice to the page. I couldn't describe what I saw in her eyes, or how it felt to be held tight, or to simply be near enough to hear the rhythm of her breathing as I lie awake in the dark of night. All I could do between sighs and sobs is write the only thing that I knew. So I got a notebook, green backed, college ruled, and in tear blurred handwriting, front to back, it's filled. Every page, every line simply says, I love you. End poem.
Wow. Um, I know you read it, but you usually give first comments. Would you like me to start, or would you like to?
I can do it. Um, there is a warmth to everything he writes. Now he has written short stories, he's written books, he's written all of these things, and there's something very and my mind went blank on the word that I am thinking of, and it's a simple word, so I feel like an idiot. It's very relatable. It taps into the universality of emotion, and it doesn't matter if he's writing about, you know, cyber dogs and vampires and whatever, or this. There's an honesty with which he breathes words into life, to life, that is so ridiculously beautiful to me. And um, I remember when he wrote this, and I just sat there crying. I wanted to be that girl. I wanted to be somebody that tries to capture. Here's the thing. Everybody wants to be the muse. Everybody wants to be, the girl in the painting. Everybody wants to be the girl in the great poem. Everybody wants to be thought of enough, loved enough, revered enough to kind of transcend this realm and be turned into art, even briefly for a moment, in part, in a little ping of emotion that is familiar. And while I don't want to be the cause of a pain like this, I would love to be loved deep enough that they try, even if they can't, but they try to catch an echo of an essence on a page. It is absolutely beautiful to me. The pain in this, the longing in this, the memory of it, knowing that it was real, and they're just trying to make it capture that truth in a way that doesn't feel diaphanous or like smoke through your fingers. And in the end, the only truth that there is love, and I find that to be amazing.
This is a poem that you get lost in because it has all that emotion of, I think, things that have been felt when you miss someone, or somebody's out of your life, or for someone you've loved so hard and they're just gone. And I know he's talking about she, but there are people that have come in and out of my life. And I love the line, but I couldn't get the echoes of her voice to the page. I couldn't describe what I saw in her eyes or how it felt to be held tight. Um, there are echoes of her. I love that thought, that there are echoes of people that have left or gone away or passed away, that they're still here, and that there's that craving for them. Um, you just want to feel their breath or hear their voice or anything. And this reaches me like a craving for that, a craving so deep that you can never satisfy. And it's awful. I just can feel like such tremendous pain. And definitely pain that I, you know, can relate to. Um, this love that Pretty Bird mentioned. Oh, to have been loved like this. I don't believe anybody that I know has ever loved me like this. But I love, and in tear blurred handwriting front to back. It's Phil. Every page, every line simply says, I love you. How gorgeous is that? Oh, just to be loved like that too. But yeah, the angst for wanting to be with someone that you can no longer touch is so painful. And it just bleeds right here in this page. Just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece. Raconteur, your thoughts.
Yeah, I love the idea of this. The expression of not being able to find the words. The idea of that comes through in this for me. Um, and the finale, the not really finality, but the the truth in the only thing that the only words you can find are I love you. The summary of that is very moving and definitely makes this a very beautiful piece, and probably one of the reasons why you love it so much. I mean, how can you not relate to the idea of this? Because people take your breath away. We've all I think felt this emotion that he's describing, and been rendered speechless. It's one of those phenomenons that no matter how much someone can talk, um, to be rendered, to not be able to articulate what you're feeling. Sometimes it's not because of a lack of familiarity with the words, or not being in touch with your emotions. It's more being overwhelmed with them. And this definitely describes the chaos that surrounds that type of thing that it's all encompassing in a lot of ways, and it's moving, and it's just emotional. So yeah, this is a beautiful piece.
Absolutely. So, since I know Bud is with us, and I don't know how long he's going to be with us, I have a wonderful treat, of course, because he is going to, or he did send us a lovely song, so I always love to listen to that. So, here we go, sir.
On and on the story goes. When it stops, nobody knows.
I had to unmute because I tend to mute, especially like during recordings, especially because my dog snores. Anyway, um, the pain in this. Okay, so I have words. Am I the only one who sees me as I am? And I'm just a lonely man without a conscious plan to breathe again. That's like the end of all things. That is like entirely desolate. Like there is, you know, if I wake up tomorrow, so be it. If I don't, so be it. And I think that that is also a familiar feeling. I think that at some point we all kind of get exhausted of existing when there isn't something to look forward to, when every day feels the same, when we feel unnoticed and invisible and unimportant and unloved. And it doesn't matter if we're in a room full of people. I am unfortunately very familiar with being invisible in a room full of people that are supposed to love me. Um, the sad truth of that, and in my experience, is that I feel invisible. That doesn't mean that other people think I'm invisible, but without a conscious plan to breathe again, and you break that up in such a beautiful way that it's not a connected thought when you listen to the song. It is very the song kind of is soft and kind of carries you through, and there's a melancholy there, but it doesn't overtake the beauty of it. But when you connect that without a conscious plan to breathe again, it's like, maybe I will, maybe I won't. And we'll see what tomorrow brings, which sometimes sounds like a hopeful sentence, but here it's not so much. But then we go back to, am I the only one who sees me as I am? And it makes me smile because as poets we tend to be, why can't, if only you could see yourself reflected in my eyes, if only you could, you knew who you were to other people. And this is the other side of that, like, no, I see me as I am, y'all are delusional. Like, you can see what you want, but I know the truth. And and our minds, especially when we feel alone, especially when we feel hopeless, our minds tend to celebrate in darkness and hate us a little bit more than it should. And we are so quick to believe the worst about ourselves and the best in other people. So I know that when people are like, no, you're this and you're that and you're kind and you're all these things, I'm like, I'm an asshole. I was like, okay, I'm glad you see me that way. I'm still an asshole. And they're like, you're not an asshole just because you're honest. I'm like, yeah, I'm all right then. But so I kind of really love that. Am I the only one like, I know who I am. I know what my truth is. I know why y'all don't see it, but you know, this is why I'm just existing, and maybe I won't exist, or maybe I will exist. We'll see what tomorrow brings. It's a hard place to be. And I'm not trying to make light of the depth of emotion in this. It's just I have read and listened to your poems of If You Only Knew How Beautiful You Are. And so on the outside looking in, I mean, I would like to think I know you. You are my friend, like, and I count you in my small group of real friends, bud. And so if only you can see yourself the way we see you, and I get that our poetry is not necessarily about us. It's, the universality of emotion and all the things, but we rarely see that thought, and I'm fixated on it. Am I the only one who sees me as I am? We tend to not write our truth. We tend to lament in grandiose proportions on whatever emotions we happen to feel or see or think. We put it out there in full metaphor and purple prose and fabulousness. We will what is that saying in Fight Club? Um,
Number one rule: we don't talk about Fight Club.
No.
Don't talk
So if
about
sticking feathers in your ass doesn't make you a chicken, you know, something like that. Because of course I would pick those. It's just we tend to be hard on ourselves. And I could very well be an asshole. But what I think makes me an asshole, sometimes other people see, you know, purity of thought. They see kindness. They see something that is fearless. They see things that I don't count in myself because I don't see myself that way. And so I love that because maybe because I was like, y'all are idiots. Do you not know? I'm telling you who I am. Pay attention to what I'm telling you because I have been that person. Be like, I know what you're looking at, but I can see myself clearly. We can't see ourselves clearly because when it comes to us, we are biased. We are biased, good or bad, by mood, by hope, by depression, by whatever it is. It's very hard to get a truly um well-rounded sense of self because it's so fluid. And oof, and I just love that's in there, that view is in there because we see so many poems and so many songs and so much art that is all you are beautiful in my eyes. And none of it is ever us looking at ourselves. And we probably should fix that. We should probably have a whole show of what we look like to ourselves versus what we look like to other people. I am just saying possibilities. I absolutely love this. And musically, you're just freaking fabulous. I am just saying. So, Sweet Pea, your thoughts?
You know, I always have a saying that mirrors lie, and
Yeah.
this is something that I see here because, like Pretty Bird, I'm very fascinated with that. You know, does anybody see me as I am? And you know, she pretty much covered all of that. So I'm gonna, you know, go with the next line. I'm just a lonely man without a conscious plan to breathe again. And everybody, what I like about this song more than anything is that so many people have a plan. Hell, I had a plan. I know you had a plan. Um, and something gets thrown, and that plan goes to shit. And I don't mean like, oh, I'm not going to go on a picnic on Saturday. I mean your whole life. What you had and what you have now, or what you thought you would have and what you don't have. And it's crazy. Sometimes it's a good path, sometimes it's bad. But when it stops, nobody knows. Black or white, it's going to show. When it stops, nobody knows. And that whole thing, you know, when is something going to give so I can breathe again? What's my conscious plan? Because it seems like every time I breathe, somebody's going to kick me in the teeth again. Or every time this happens, I'm in the sun, it's going to go, the sun's going to go down. You know, it just doesn't matter. And you've got that line in there because my life is just a game. When I win, I lose again. And you know, the only constant thing in life is change. And I think you kind of grasp that concept, you know, where everything we do, we just don't know when it's going to stop. And God forbid if it does stop, because I go to that big picture too. Um, it's not something that we want to think about. We just want to stay on the path of life. And I really, really did enjoy this. So, Mr. Raconteur, your thoughts?
So the idea of seeing you as you really are, for whatever reason, I got Pretty Bird's idea of Dracula, and you know, vampires can't see their own reflection. So I don't know. I just got distracted with that. But for me, the idea that you start off with, that the round and round, you know, it goes, the monotony of it. I've lamented about that over and over again, and you put it so beautifully in this piece. Um, the it, it always gets to a point, at least for me, where I'm like, why am I, one day looks like the next, and it makes you not look forward to tomorrow or any of that other stuff. It's like it's the same shit over and over and over again, and the idea of that is both, depressing and um uh, I don't know why I'm saying both, because I don't know that there's another thing. I mean, pressing is enough. Um, yeah. So this is highly relatable in that, and because you put it to music, and it's a lovely tune. It kind of makes it not what's it kind of makes it sneak up on you. We almost don't realize that what we're actually in the middle of. So this is very very well written, and beautifully spoken, or sang. Anyways, I enjoyed it very much, bud.
Awesome. Um, Miss Pretty Bird, I have you on the board.
All right. This is So Many Pages in Years of Wasted Time by me, Pretty Bird. And it goes like this. I have over 1,000 books. I haven't read near half of them, but I learned how to make paper that might inspire someone else to ink words or thoughts or art or anything that is more creative than I seem to be. Too thick, too thin, too mottled, too plain, I mix the slurry by hand just to glean a moment of good enough in a finished product that no one ever sees but me. I learned to sew text blocks by hand like I'm going to actually bind my own journals, but I haven't written in the 152 multi-size notebooks I already own. They are just too pretty to ruin with my broken ramblings and unclear verbiage. I own full sides of leather to forge the kind of old world, hand bound, rustic beauty that I imagine our ancestors held close and whispered their secrets in quilled calligraphy. They are still in shipping boxes, pristine. People have lined up waiting for them, but the idea of them far exceeds the finished product because I haven't finished anything yet. But I will. Eventually, I will take my beautiful paper that only became beautiful after months of not looking at it, and I will take those finished text blocks that are imperfectly sewn in a hard learning curve that no one will ever see through that hardcover exterior. Eventually, I'll bind them all in superhero nerd book cloth that I have made by hand because not everyone likes leather. Yes, everything is touched and molded and tested and loved in every stage by someone who cannot see the beauty in anything she does until it's far enough away to forget that I hoped it would turn out differently. I will never understand the interest in things I do, but that collection of journals that keeps growing includes other artisans' handmade varieties that are too precious to sully. It's the imperfections that are most lovely. Deckled edges and cockled pages speak to my soul and all the care two hands took to make every single one. Maybe I once thought I would print my words on those handmade pages in a hand-bound book, but how could I sell such a labor of love? And who would want to pay what I think it's worth when I think it's worthy at all? I read my favorite books over and over, but I can't seem to remember writing words that look back at me in all their purged honesty, averting my eyes from the shameless, unfiltered outpouring, like I had some nerve forcing people to read such blather. I have over 1,000 books. I haven't read near half of them, but I learned how to make paper that might inspire someone else to ink words or thoughts or art or anything that is more creative than I seem to be. End poem.
There is such a way. First off, the way you read is stunning. I mean, it just simply is. The pauses and the right moments and just telling the story. But then there's the story or the reality and the beauty in a finished product that no one will ever see but me. You know, I'm actually blind. My own journals, but I haven't written in the 152 multi-site notebooks I already own. They're just too pretty to ruin with my broken ramblings and unclear verbiage. Wow. I think I say that to myself every day. Yeah, no, that's not going to work. That shouldn't go anywhere. That's not right. Well, people have lined up waiting for them. You know, eventually I will take my beautiful paper that only became beautiful after months of not looking at it. I will take all those finished textbooks that are imperfectly sewn in a hard learning curve that no one will ever see through that hard cover exterior. I love how you express that everything has been touched and molded and tested and loved. Everything that we even think is crap and garbage and think no one will ever read it, it's still our words, our feelings, our pain is on that page. And I don't care who likes it or loves it. You trust me, you'll never see it. I've crumbled up enough papers. I've torn them up. I put them through the shredder. Um, it's just got such a beauty to all of it. You've kind of written so many thoughts, I think, that so many writers have. And you've encompassed it in such a beautiful work of art that you're just bringing me to tears tonight, you guys. Um, it's just wonderful words. I really appreciate your style and your art. So, Rack, your thoughts?
The thing I love about her writing is her passion, and in this piece particularly, she's writing about the paper, but her passion extends well beyond that. I almost want to say, even though she's talking about the paper that she's made and loves, um, she's also talking about the words that she puts on the page. Why is it dead silent?
I
Did,
no, I
did,
hear
did
you.
I?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I got nervous again because life is unkind. The connections are
That's the
unkind.
sound of us listening.
Yes, someone's hearing you.
Oh,
It's the absence
yeah.
of my dog
That's the sound of
snoring.
nobody. It's the sound of nobody reading me.
Uh,
But anyways, yeah, again, your perspective, put down, um, how you feel about just creating that paper and relating to that, um extends so far beyond just that, because it's your personality that you put into it. It's who you are, that you're really describing. It's not just the paper. That's just one example, one facet of what you're describing, and that's what I love about this, because it's a glimpse into so much more than just the story that you're telling about the paper. But then, that's because we're all poets and we like to read shit into stuff that isn't necessarily what was intended when it was written, but it's there. Oh, this is as beautiful as you are.
Oh, thank you.
thank you. So I'm gonna give Pretty Bird a break and actually read something for me, and then
Announcements first or after?
um, we'll do announcements first. So what's coming up on Tuesday?
Well, the consequences have arrived. You did it to your damn self at one point or another. We've all wondered how we got in a situation. It's easy to search for others to blame. It's not our fault this happened. It can't be. But no, sweetie, sometimes it's your own doing. Can you name the times when it's been your own damn fault? Because, the consequences of your actions are real. That is Tuesday.
And coming up on Thursday, everybody talks shit. I mean, from harmless
Ah,
chatter to reputation shattering rumors. We all have something to say. From expert advice to sarcastic wit, how do your words hit with our families and our friends? How do our own words land to others? Grab some sweet tea. Let's head out to the porch swing and chat because everybody talks shit. So you can find us everywhere because we are everywhere on X, on Facebook Live, on Twitter. You can find the Pretty Sweet Distractions. You can find all our previous chats, shows on Pretty Sweet Podbean at podbean.com. And we want you to leave all your comments, all your dislikes, all your loves. Leave comments on our comments. Listen to the show. We love the feedback. We are live every Tuesday and every Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can hear us everywhere you hear a podcast, from Apple Podcasts to Skype, not Skype,
Spotify.
Spotify, that's what it is. Sorry, blanked out my mind there. Spotify, you can find us chatting. So I hope to hear from all of you soon. Anything I missed, my dear?
Yeah, just we only go live on X/Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. So that's where you can listen to us on Tuesday and Thursday. Otherwise, you can listen to our previous posts anywhere you listen to your podcast. And in all situations, type in Pretty Sweet, PRTTY Sweet, all one word. Click on the red shoes, and you can listen to hundreds of hours of all of us talking about all the shit using all the words.
Oh, goodness. Thank you for reminding me because I would have just kept going. So I'm going to throw me up there to give Pre-Bird a break because I'm going to have her read Rag after me. Let's see. I have blank pages.
barbecue baby bones.
Oh, I've got Rag. I mean, not me. Good Lord. I say your name, you just fill up my head. I've got me, Sweet Pea, doing my thing. If maybe, just maybe, I can, pretend I know how to read. I'm sure I do. Okay.
See, don't make it your fault. I derailed you. It's my fault.
That's, well,
It's always your fault.
you are a
San,
punny.
San Andreas is my fault.
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
you are a punny kind of guy. Okay, back to trying to focus me. Blank Pages by Sweet Pea. Forest fire blazing, every water hose is failing. Manic words spin wild on carousel horses failing. Rivers rush from mountain peaks, fierce ideas spill deep, flooding through the synapses, no rest, no sleep. Drifting on rain clouds born of dark, unruly dreams, listening to the endless voices, screaming from the stream. Brilliance strikes bold and unafraid. Enlightenment rises, conquers, storms the brigades. Unleash the beast upon the page, a discipline, a principle, a sage. Let your truth be released from its cave, interrupting the silence obeyed. Delicate as paper snowflakes, cutting with trembling hands. Words set free ignite, shattering past commands. Breath drawn deep until the lexicon speaks again. A rage, a passion, a lesson, burning the pages. Let the lines begin. and pull.
I had mentioned before about purging being cathartic. Excuse me, my throat is just unfortunate. Um, and I think that this speaks to that completely. And my voice is leaving me. Give me a second.
Okay.
Because girly needs a lozenge because this is what happens when I don't. It's fading in real time. Give me a second.
It's fading in real time.
You might want to go to rack first till it comes back.
Okay, Wrath, your thought.
My thoughts about your thoughts on the blank pages. I did. This is a beautiful um journey on the inspiration of what makes us right. I see all kinds of and no dead babies, although there were screams coming from streams, so that there was that. Uh, you had to flirt with the idea, but then we all love you because you love to flirt. So there's that. It's I mean, again, I appreciate the thought of this. Your catalog of things varies from in all different directions. You've shown that you can write, anything. Although people tend to pick on, the fact that your darker stuff more than anything else. That this is a beautiful example of how you can, take break free of the mold and the prejudgment and prove everybody wrong that you're not one dimensional, and that's what makes this so lovely. um or I should say, one of the things that makes it lovely. All of it is enthralling. I
Good word.
Yeah.
That word. Thank you, sir.
I know that you said she's the flirt, but there I thought you were the shameless flirt. My bad. Now I'm choking my own spit. Give me 1 second.
Poor breathing. Oh my goodness.
Damn, I
Thank-
did it again.
Oh, I don't know what
Whoops.
to.
No, I'm not.
All
No,
right,
not
listen.
right.
That's the first thing that entered my head was whoops, I did it again because earworms are our favorite thing to do on this show. Okay.
I'm going to speak before my voice completely leaves me, because I've had this unfortunate, I was sick 6 weeks ago and it's lingering in my throat in the most unfortunate way. By the end of this, I may not have a voice at all. It's fine. I'll just be like sounding like a mummy on here. I'll still talk. It's fine. Probably why I won't heal. Okay, when you get down here to the bottom, oh, delicate as paper snowflakes cut with trembling hands. And it's funny because that's juxtaposed against the line before it, where the truth is released, interrupting the silence, obeyed. And so when you're that delicate snowflake, obeying the silence, and you're just that, and I'm going to say, good little girl, because that's what it feels like to me. Because I haven't been. I don't know if you can tell. I don't obey well. So that's what it. When you're good and you're obedient and you're all of these things, and when somebody sees you that way, when it is how you identify yourself at whatever moment of time. There's something that happens when you take a pen to paper where you can be all the curse words and all the fire and all the brimstone and all the loud joy and all the laughter and all the pain and all the sadness, all of which is louder than that silence. So it doesn't always have to be all the bad emotions. It could be the good ones too. So you remember them and you write them down, and they come in a place that does not judge you. And here is the thing: if you've never journaled or written emotions or tried to connect with parts of you that you don't even want to see, because we've all got those parts, and sometimes they're your friends, sometimes not so much. But when you have that page and you're writing all the things, you can write your ugliest thoughts that can be true for a second in the white hot, rage, and then once they're out there, they're never true again. um and you can be like, and I don't care if it's jealousy, I don't care, because sometimes you can be like, I can't believe that bitch, yada yada yada, blah blah blah, she doesn't deserve whatever it is. Yeah, you're perfectly happy for your friend to their face, but you have a moment where you can put it out there, and it's not how you continue to feel, but whew, now I can breathe because it's out. And it's all of those moments, all of those fuck you, I don't want to have to sit there and spend every last minute of my day doing whatever the fuck it is you want to do. I want to sleep in the middle of the afternoon, god damn it. And you can put it all down there, and nobody's going to call you lazy. Nobody's going to call you, defiant, and nobody's going to make you feel like shit or unimportant or whatever. You are the king or queen of your domain on those pages, and whatever wild emotions you want to put down there. And I absolutely love that, because it's almost like you brace yourself in that last stanza. Breath drawn deep until the lexicon speaks again. You take that deep breath, and then it comes out of your fingertips in that ink or whatever you're writing with. And you can look at it later when you're not elevated, when you're not sad or elated or angry. And you can look at it and see it for what it was. You can remember what it felt like to write, and you can see where you are now versus then, and how much truth or it is in that or isn't, because it doesn't always have to remain true in longevity. You know, we don't stay angry forever. So if we are angry in that moment, we're like, oh damn, that thing pissed me the fuck off. And so sometimes you read something you wrote last week, last month, last year, and you're like, holy shit, I was going through it. Because you could only be objective when you're not in it. There's no way to be objective when you're currently feeling those emotions, but when you let them out and you can look at it and you can see who you want to be who next time it happens, or if that worked for you, to release it, and you can pour yourself into all these things. And every blank page lacks more than ink. It lacks judgment. It will never judge you. It will never judge you. You're ugly. It will never judge you're beautiful. It will never judge your misspellings, your bad grammar, your crappy handwriting. It doesn't judge your thoughts, your opinions, your views on anything. It lacks judgment. And I don't care how much we pay our shrinks to act like they don't judge us. I promise you, they're people. People judge us. It just takes skill to objectively fill in all the things and see all the sides. That doesn't mean that they don't have their own fucking opinions on what messes we are. That blank page holds no opinion of its own. It is a reflection of whatever we put on it in whatever moment we're feeling it. And I think that this reflects it really, really well, because it's hard to find that freedom to be exactly who we are, to feel exactly what we feel, because everybody wants to judge us. Oh, there she is being dramatic. Oh, I don't want to say anything because you're just going to get loud. I mean, I may or may not get loud, whatever. And all the things, oh, I don't know what mood you're in. I don't know which version of you I'm going to get. How about you come in here nice, not expecting anything? We have a conversation, and then you'll get me being normal instead of me reacting to your acidness, But it doesn't temper anything. There's no judgment. It is a reflection of a moment of time, locked in emotion that we found words for, or tried to find words for, which makes it wonderful to come back to at a later time, to remember those moments, to see our growth, to see our pain, to remember our love, to remember our sadness, to remember all the things that time takes away from us. Because time wants to bring us to kind of an absolute zero, that kind of neutral plus or minus one standard deviation of emotion. And when we write it down in all its glory, we can relive those moments exactly how we saw them at the time, not how we remember them, because they sometimes are two very different things. So I kind of love that this represents that.
I'm talking away on mute. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I am going to go ahead then and
I don't know if you saw, but he's on there going, "Holy cow, what a write!" And I kind of love that he says "Holy cow" because cow valve. I'm just saying.
that's great. I already put that together, but that's fabulous. Oh, okay. So I will give you a break, and I will read Mr. Raconteur.
I don't know.
You don't know? You don't think I could say banality?
No, self-aggrandizing. But
Self-aggrandizing.
go ahead.
I got self-aggrandizing. The only one I'm worried about with the accent is banality because I don't think I say it correctly.
Okay.
Yeah, banality is the way it goes.
Okay. That was the one I was more.
Did you put it up? I don't see it yet.
Now I'm talking about it. So yeah, that was my, you know, that was my worry.
I got it.
Go for it.
Oh, I got it, honey. Sorry. Bye-bye. And all right, I can do that. Good Lord.
It's up.
Okay. So here we go. This is by the lovely Rack and Tor. It is called Inspiration. I stare at the page. The emptiness that is my life stares back at me. Nothing worthwhile to chronicle. An inconsequential life of banality. I struggle with existing, never mind actually living. Is it any wonder I relate to the beauty in that blank page? Imagine the arrogance thinking that I could improve upon that image. Self-pretentious, self-aggrandizing importance rooted more in imagination than reality. Mine is a story, eloquently told with the absence of words, with time portraying my protagonist and my vapid existence that what passes for a plot summary. So I stare at the page and lay down my pen, secure in the knowledge that whatever I put forth is nowhere near as compelling as a blank page.
And poem? I'm assuming.
And
Okay. So at the end of this, whatever I put forth is nowhere near as compelling as a blank page. After all the things I just said about that blank page, I think that because that blank page holds all the possibilities, it holds no judgment and all the glory. It holds the best stories we've never written and the best versions of our memories that we haven't found words for. It is an interesting statement because when I first read this, it reads very much as, well, whatever I do, it's worth nothing because there's nothing on that page. And, I stare at it and I give up and I can't do any better than the emptiness. But that blank page is also hope. That blank page is the possibility of everything, good things and bad things. And it's an interesting thing to see both of those in there. But when you start at, I stare at the page, the emptiness that is my life stares back at me. When there is nothing to write and you can't find the words and you're feeling useless and again, invisible and kind of like, I was gonna say smoke, but really it's kind of like air pollution where you're walking the streets of the city and it kind of has a smell, but it does, but you don't even notice it anymore. You know what I mean?
Oh, urine.
No, not that smell. That's a different smell. Not it's yeah, we're not different part of the city. And
That's the subway.
OMG. But you know, it's something that nobody notices anymore. It's just part of the daily thing. And when we feel unnoticed, when we feel that inconsequential, it's only a matter of time before we get to your verse 3. Imagine the arrogance thinking that I can improve on that. What can I do to that blank page to make it any better? And the thing is, I get feeling useless. I live in that place more often than I'd like to admit, feeling just kind of a burden to existence itself sometimes when you're alone and nothing changes and everything's the same and the same kind of feels like nothing. I get that.
Inconsequential.
But thinking that I can, imagine the arrogance thinking I can improve upon that image. If we're looking at that image, at that blank page, as a possibility of everything, how do you improve on that anyway? You know? And it's not that we're making it better than what it is. It's the possibility of everything better than what we are. Everything, all the best parts of us and all the best parts of who we used to be or who we want to be or or people that we want to pull out of our ass to pretend are real, because it is really fun writing a story that has nothing to do with you. And so I kind of love that. I do. I love that this is kind of like the duality of man. And by man, I mean human existence, not, just to be clear, because it's very much stark and alone and very much all the possibilities all at once. And I don't know if you did that on purpose, but I find
Yep.
it to be absolutely fucking beautiful. So, Sweet Pea, your thoughts? You're
I'm
muted.
mute. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, blah, blah, blah. Um, I really enjoyed this, except for the fact that, I struggle with existing, never mind my actual living. Is it a wonder I relate to the beauty in that blank page? Only because I can relate to that so very much. Um, it's like reading a book sometimes where you just go in and you drop in there and you can just be whoever you want and, you know, let go of whatever it is and just have fun with it. And, and then you have to go back to your dull, boring life, your dishes and your laundry and all the things that you have to do. But, you know, it's so many things, that are in here that actually isn't in here because when you read someone, you put in your own lines, you put in your own way of feeling things. And I absolutely love, you know, not so much for you, but for me, imagine the arrogance that I can improve upon. Yeah, because if I'm not arrogant when I write about myself or want to, especially in fiction or whatever, that I want to be the hero, that I want to be the prettiest, that I want to be the sexiest, that I want to be that person, then maybe I'm not writing at all. But then there are those stories where I'm, so sad and so depressed and so upset that, is there arrogance in that? It's because the whole world can be sad and upset and all of that. And my vapid existence, what passes for a plot summary, that kind of reminded me a little bit of Budo's song that he wrote. What's the great conscientious plan? What is our plot summary? So again, you guys just amazing poetic, talents. It's insane. So I really appreciate it.
Insane is a
Ah,
perfect word. Thank you.
I appreciate you all. Pretty Bird, are you ready to read again?
Which one?
One of yours, the order I think you sent them to me,
Yeah.
I believe. Um,
I believe. I believe.
Again, earworms, 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 earworms. Nothing like earworms.
Okay.
So it's
I
happy
think
to
this
do
one's
that.
as long
Oh,
as
you
the
got
last
that there.
one.
I'm getting it, and you have
I
it on.
got it. All right. This is Smells Like Empty Pages and Time Served by me, Pretty Bird. And it goes like this. Lines crossed with low-hanging letters. The gentle slope of emotion sweeping across uh, my brain. I'm going to start over. Smells like empty pages and time served. Lines crossed with low-hanging letters. The gentle slope of emotion sweeping across the uh, the sage of time most conquered. Ink smells like a lamb at the slaughter. Sweet sweat and anticipation, unknown futures in a gilt market where pieces await the gilding, a steady hand and the curve of a fresh quill, the metallic scent of bled eyes catching images in an inkwell, dripping from the tip, following words, hoping to find the truth is painted between the lines of low-hanging letters, sweeping across the sage of time most conquered, riding that gentle slope of emotion. And poem.
Good God. Um, he smells like a lamb at the slaughter. That is one vivid image. Sweet sweat and
Yeah.
anticipation. But man, I used to live downwind from a slaughterhouse when I was young, and I'll tell you what, those are just the worst, the worst. Thank God we didn't live there for very long, but oh God, every time you pass the grocery store, you would just smell the slaughterhouse, and it was so bad. So it just hits me kind of really hard because, ink smells like a lamb at slaughter. Because I don't know if I'd ever write again if it did. But what a vision! Because immediately you can smell it, immediately you can feel it, and that what you're writing at. That's how you know passionate or dark or whatever it is that's being put on that page. It's just God, that's just such a great line. As they say, writers envy. I don't care what your penis looks like, but I want that line. uh,
Shh.
Sorry. Um, Especially when you come back with dripping from the tip, following words, hoping to find the truth is painted between the lines. And I kind of had just talked about Brack's poem where I had inserted all these other, painting my own truths between the lines. And I really kind of understand that. And it it's a part of how I read poetry. So it's a part of me because I think it's really what everyone does. And I can hammer on and talk about this, and you could be back there shaking your head like, what the hell is she talking about? That bitch has no idea what I'm writing at all. But this is how it makes me feel. And sometimes I way miss the boat, and I apologize for that, but it's where my heart is, or what I feel, or how I see it. And one thing I always see in your writing is brilliance. So that's just a great piece of work here,
Thank
as always. And Ragantor, your thoughts?
You so derailed me when you said you used to live near a slaughterhouse because I think that explains a lot about your writing now. So many answers in that. I'm just like, oh, that explains a lot. But again, your affinity for the page and words, show in this, and the compulsion to write, which you've been lamenting that you haven't felt recently, which I think is a crime, but that's another story. Uh, this is just again indicative of your passion and your um, well, like I said, love of the written words, and of course, the reflections of truth. We can never get away from that when you're concerned. So something reliable, something familiar. Um, but sometimes um, your writing can be not daunting, but something along those lines that I'm trying to say. Intimidating, and commenting on it, doubly so because you tend to bleed on the page, and it's very much the moment that you were in when you wrote it, and people look at it and they take it out of context, which totally changes the tone of it. So um, you kind of lose us sometimes. But this I think just speaks of the love of words, and your ability to conquer that blank page.
Much appreciated. Funny story. Um, Before I even was ever on like anything live, uh, I used to write for different shows, and people either love me or hate me. I'm very polarizing, and I'm okay with that because who needs the riffraff? So, this twat waffle that really couldn't stand me. I had written for the show before I knew that they were hosting the show, and I don't really care. I'm just gonna put my shit up there. And their comment was, "Well, what can I say about Pretty Bird? She kind of eviscerates people, eviscerates emotion on the table, and just leave you there to stare at it." And she fully thought she was insulting me, and everybody else who was on that show was like, "I know it's amazing, and this and that, and blah 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 blah." And she was like, "Oh," and I was just like, "Ha ha." And it's funny because my writing is very polarizing. That's just my personality. It's 100% across the board, and I don't care. But I don't do delicate. I love beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Titus, and I will miss him for the rest of my life. Okay, but he had a way of writing everything eloquently. I don't care if he's telling you off. I don't care if he is in the throes of passion. I don't care if it's love, pain. I don't care what he ever wrote about. It was eloquent, it was beautiful, and somehow he made the ugliest emotions soft and palatable. And it's a gift I will never have. I am in stark contrast to that, where I'm very much, these are my guts. This is how they bleed. This is how they smell. This is how they taste. Enjoy your last meal. And people either find that refreshing because that I have felt that, now I don't feel alone, or they're like, "Oh my god, I don't want to look at that. I'm going to pretend that that feeling doesn't exist." And so you either love me or you hate me. And I appreciate beautiful words because I don't find anything beautiful in what I do. I tend to be very jagged and very sharp. And I think that there's a place for all kinds of words and all kinds of art. And okay, and I'm going to go back to Jackson Pollock. Not a fan of his splatter shit. I don't care who loves that crap. It's a giant mess of shit. It looks like the tarp that you lay out when you're
Rorschach.
actually freaking painting. Like it just looks like, I don't appreciate it. I mean, some of his other work, yes, but no. And some people love it, and some people, me, don't. And every view on it is valid because we we can appreciate the colors, we can appreciate different things stylistically, we can appreciate whatever it is. But if it ain't for us, it ain't for us. We are not for everyone, and that is okay. And that's why I love when we have a variety of poetry on this show, because we're all different. And when Bud brings his music or his words or both, because I like it both ways, I'm just saying. And so
Oh,
uh
we can open
it
with that.
it is very compelling to see all the different facets surrounding a singular topic, because there are a million different views and a million different ways to skirt a topic and a million different things to talk about. And I know that we've all seen writing prompts that have everybody writing different versions of the same thing. And I can't think of a
Yeah.
single show we have done in a year and a half that has ever felt like that. And I think that that's a testament to how different we see things and how different we chain words. And I just find it beautiful.
Absolutely. Because, wow, great comments. I have one up on me. This is blood, quills, pens, and keyboards. A cliche that writes in notebooks among the trees. Chicken scratch words on napkins no one gets but me. My flesh, a billboard advertisement, tattooed into a story yet told. Tortured some days by the parade of sentences that invade the gravity of the day and pulls the universe into a haze of gray until fingers fly on a keyboard as the inner voices begin to slowly grow silent as words appear on the page. Notes from a king I praise I write, for if I cannot, there is the darkness of the grave, a psychosis wrapped in the grating sounds of my lexicon, shredding words from my brain. Swagger, disparagement, gritty and raw, I'll weep from ink into realities of fantasy. No veils hide the necessity of putting pen to paper. Until death, I am the writer. I care not if you know my name. End poem.
It's funny. Um because I've had this argument, and maybe y'all have had this argument too. Um like, people came at me in hurtful words and complete indignation because I don't give a shit how many times I've read. I'm read. If I write something, it's not. I write it to purge. I write it because I need to write it. I write it because it needs to be born. Somebody out there is going to read it, and it's going to mean something to somebody. Whatever it is, that's not for me. But I care not if you know my name. Uh, Poetry especially is not going to make you famous. But not until you've been dead 100 years, and even then, everybody calls themselves a poet nowadays. So who the fuck knows? But I've had that argument where, like, well, if you're not writing to be read, why do you bother writing? Like, who am I gonna? But huh? That because I can't do that. Well, you have to know your audience. I'm like, no, I don't. My audience, it will find me and they will become my people. I have had people follow me for 15 years. Once people follow me, they tend to not disappear. You know what I mean? And that they are my people. And I will never understand writing to an audience that I don't have yet, or I don't know.
Don't relate to.
It's just it's the weirdest thing to me. But when you are pulled to write, when tortured some days by the parade of sentences, I love that, because here's the thing: they will come forth how they come forth, and sometimes you say something that is accidentally brilliant, and you're struggling to get it down, whether it's on your phone, whether it's a voice recorder, whether you're writing it on paper. You want to remember it, you want to remember it, you want to remember it. As soon as you go to write it down, you forget, and so sometimes it's a struggle. But it's part of um, it's part of a creative mindset, because even if you are a sculptor or a painter or whatever form of art it is that you do, you have those moments where you want to write it down. You write down the idea, you write down the color scheme, you write down the media with the medium which you want to use to create it. You write it down so you don't forget. And so on some level, every artist is a writer, because it's part of the process. You know what I mean? And if you're going to smudge the edges of the words um, and try to curate emotion that you think people want instead of what you feel, it's going to be very different, and it's going to feel inauthentic, and it might still be beautiful, but it's not going to connect the way it does when there's an underlying level of honesty. So, not that everything has to be true, because art, but if you're not in it in the moment, it's going to read different than if you wrote it when you are. And so I kind of love this, um, all weep ink into realities of fantasy. And I don't know if I would call all writing fantasy, but yeah, there are those moments. I mean, like you said, you don't barbecue babies. And and I've got, unicorns that kill people and all kinds of stuff. We and vampires and werewolves and ghosties. Oh my. It's all the things. And I find it interesting because we all fear different things. And so our darker pieces are very telling to our individual selves while still being very universal. And I love how you start this with a cliche that writes in notebooks among trees. Because here's the thing, everybody's like, "Oh, well, that's so cliche." Oh, sweetie, everything is cliche, or it wouldn't be cliche. It's familiar, and sometimes you need to use a well-known cliche to plant the seed of the bigger picture, or to punctuate what you just said. And we're often told, "Oh, well, that's too cliche, and don't use this word." The word soul is too cliche. Okay, so
Heart.
what? Yeah, seriously. So I get that if you're going to use it every other word or every other poem or whatever it is, that people can have a problem with reading the same shit over and over and over and over. I get that. Also, not my problem. Don't read me. But sometimes cliche is cliche for a reason, because it matters, because it's universal, because people understand it. And when you write anything abstract and you're deep in that metaphor and or in that fantasy, and you're in the middle of all this and you're saying all the things to depict an emotion that you don't name outright, sometimes you need a cliche in there so that so they have something to hold on to while you take them for the ride. And so I kind of love that that's incorporated in there. So yeah, I like words, and I think this is lovely. So, Raconteur, your thoughts?
You mentioned cliche. My mind went right to Of course she doesn't barbecue babies. She's Southern. She deep fries those bastards. Oh my God. Oh, the cliche. I mean, oh, I got lost in your words, and I think that's a beautiful thing, because each one kind of spun me in a different direction, and I don't know. This time I won't blame my squirrel brain, but your presentation and thought process um, is what did it to me, and totally drew me in, and took me for that ride that Pretty Bird mentioned, and that's not an easy thing to do, and I think it's beautiful.
Well, thank you very much. I have Rat on the board. He has a lovely recording for us. So,
Does he?
yes, he does.
Yes.
So I am going to go ahead and play that for us.
This is the same one that you just put up before.
Oh, no, I have a different one. I'm sorry. Oh, jeez. This one's Reflections. I can't believe I copied the wrong one. But hey, that's my brain tonight, you know. My brain is my brain. What can I tell you? Sometimes it works, sometimes it goes sideways,
I
sometimes it
got
goes
it.
left, sometimes it goes right. I have no idea what it's doing.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Come on, little thing. I can. Can you try to get that to play? Because
Yeah,
mine. Oh, no, I got that.
Reflections
you got
on
it.
a Page by Raconteur. I spend half my life collecting, wrapping emotions into metaphor, bundling experiences into similes. My mind devours them, yet I remain ravenous. I live half my life on paper, chronicling what was and what I hope will be, decoupaging tomorrows with the pieces I've collected in the hopes they will be found resplendent, hoping to find balance, needing to merge those thoughts, to spend my life living within reach of the real me. The life we live is the real canvas. The page is but a mirror, and sometimes the harder we look doesn't help us see any clearer. End poem.
And sometimes the harder we look doesn't help us see any clearer. Ain't that the freaking truth? I am just saying, like, I don't care what faction of mirror it is, what you're trying to reflect, or what the hell you're looking at. Looking at something for too long makes you crazy. It makes everything blur at the edges. Makes you see double vision, and you're gonna invariably focus on the wrong fucking thing. So I kind of love how you end that, and the way that the kind of slow and deliberate way you read this adds to the weight of it. And I kind of love how you use decoupaging tomorrow, because I don't know how much you guys know about decoupaging, but I'm a very crafty girl. And so here's the thing. It's not just, oh, look, it's pretty paper and let me just glue it a bundle, kind of overlapping all over itself and make it pretty. That's not what that is. You take these very thin pieces of rice paper, or you take a napkin with a pretty picture on it. And napkins are usually 2 or 3 layers. You have to peel those layers apart, so it's just the one layer with the ink, and then you have to tear the edges with a little bit of water so that it's not all lumpy. And then you have to make it beautiful, and you have to take the time to glue the surface and glue it, and not have any. It's a process. And so when you say decoupaging tomorrow with the pieces I've collected in the hopes they are found resplendent. In order to find decoupage resplendent, you have to take the time and the care to make sure that those edges blend and that it is evenly coated and it has enough time to dry. And you have to be delicate so you don't tear those very thin pieces of paper. And it is a very thoughtful, very deliberate process. And when you take that deliberateness, trying to find that balance between, thoughts and reality, between what a feeling and the depiction of it, it says a lot about how somebody crafts words. Because here's the thing. I mean, I can throw some paint on a canvas and woohoo, art. Is it going to be good? No. Will somebody like it? Probably. There's no accounting for taste. But when it comes to emotions, and I'm going to say something unpopular and mean, and this it is what it is. we've all read the sappy love poems. We've all written sappy love poems. The difference between a good sappy love poem and just what the fuck is this nonsense is when somebody is trying to tell you what love is. They're like, "Oh, love is kind and love is gentle and love is beautiful and oh my aching heart." Okay, great. And so if you're not going to be in there and describe what it does to you emotionally or viscerally or take one moment instead of love as a whole because love is complex and try to find a way to depict it in action or thought or reaction or whatever it is to make it feel real, then it's just all theory and no practice. And it's like knowing all the sex, reading about all the sex, understanding how where everything is in a body. But I promise you, if you've never made love to a woman, you're going to be surprised at how close the holes are to each other because it doesn't matter what it says in the book and what you know, the feel of it, the reality of it, you don't know until you know. You know what I mean? And we can do all of the feels like warm apple pie all you want to until you get in there. Again, you don't know until you know. You can imagine, you can think, but until you have been there, you cannot then describe it for yourself in a way that makes sense to you. And it's the difference between telling somebody, you know, that the sky is blue and telling them that it is both the warmth of the sun on a cool spring afternoon, you know, where it's the color of the singing of the jaybirds, and without it's just you don't. Well, it's blue. All right, good for you. It's blue, but your blue and my blue may not be the same blue. I it could be royal blue to me, baby blue to you, whatever fucking blue there is, because there's every shade of blue has a new fucking name. But there's a way to sit there and find that balance between the reality of a thing and the depiction of a thing. And how that balance is in direct correlation to its beauty. And whether it's stark beauty or whether it is delicate beauty, they can both be equal and opposite. And there's no one way to hold words, and there's no one way to turn a phrase. I live half my life on paper, chronicling what was and what I hope will be. And so many of us have all these thoughts all the time. We think about the past and we think about the future and we think about what we want versus what we think will happen. And this is human nature. And comparatively speaking, there are very few of us that write it down well enough that other people understand what that feels like. And I kind of love this. So, Sweet Pea, your thoughts?
Well, I spent half of my life collecting, wrapping emotions into metaphor. Oh, I unfortunately have a very bad problem when I have conversations with other people that are not poets and look at me with their heads tilted like little dogs because I will speak in metaphor. So it's quite funny that you wrote that because a lot of people, I don't know if they don't understand metaphor, they don't get metaphor, just my poet friends get metaphor, but I don't do it on purpose. But when you see something and you're just like, oh, that, and they're like, huh? And I'm like, okay, sorry, the tree is green. That's a pretty yellow tree. It's just one of those things. And I live half my life on paper, chronicling, yeah, okay. Chronically, I can't say that tonight. Okay. What was and what I hope to be. And yeah, in hopes they are found resplendent. Oh, if I could only be the words I put on paper. But then again, I have put some dark words on paper, so maybe that's not necessarily true. Maybe I don't want the soft bones of children, which one of these days I should explain to people that listen to us. Um, but life is, you know, the real canvas page is but a mirror. But we all believe I think mirrors lie. And sometimes the harder we look doesn't help us see any clearer. Not so very true because sometimes the harder we look at ourselves, the worse we see. And again, I don't know, you and Buddha might be, think twins or whatever, but he kind of said the same thing, so it's very profound that, this message is coming through again um, about who only sees ourselves but ourselves, or who really sees us. I think that's kind of brilliant. So, Miss Perteberg,
It is.
I have you on the board again.
I actually love this poem, and I don't tend
What
to
again?
like my poems. They're just poems, but because we're all our own worst critics. But I like this one. This is "I Want You To" by me, Pretty Bird, and it goes like this: Love me like that poem you wrote, and keep writing every time your eyes close, through every sigh that escapes your thought. Love me like that warrior in words, just out of reach, but close enough to leach through my skin, stroking my heart with each stroke of your pen. Love me like it fills your lungs and overflows from your being beyond your control, where all you can do is look at the page and wonder how it got stained in emotion. Love me hard, like there's no other life, like every love before was a lie and you scribe the only truth. Love me like that one that never got away, that you feel as strongly from a distance as you do beneath their breath. Love me like that moment you knew there could never be anyone else painted in your words. I want you to love me like that. In poem.
I want to be loved like that. I want somebody to write a poem like that for me, because love me like it fills your lung and overflows from your being beyond your control. Where all you can do is look at the pages and wonder how it's stained in emotion. That brilliant. Um, you make me want to be that person that's being loved, being written about. I definitely want this kind of love. I crave it. Or sometimes I think maybe this is the happily ever after that I'll never get. But it's just so beautiful. And so what I think everyone really truly wants is, just to be loved without judgment, without thinking about it. Just breathe me in like I'm your air. Um, this is actually one of my favorites that you read too. It's funny because I've never even commented on it, but I've heard you read it a couple times. It's gorgeous. Pretty great. And Rack, your thoughts.
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is I just want to go, okay.
Mhm.
But yeah, it brings to mind the very first poem we opened with that idea, that thought that of all the things that I could say, the most relevant, the most meaningful is I love you, and the well, I won't say all encomp. I don't know how to put it. The way that encompasses everything is a beautiful thought, and that to me is what love is. The idea of oh you put other people before you, the people you love, you put them before you. they're the ones that matter, and the only thing, everything for your happiness, and all those things are kind of wrapped up in the thought of this. And I think that's beautiful.
It only works if it's both ways.
Yeah, well, at least in a relationship. See, the idea that, though, even if it isn't both ways, it's still, it's painful. Then, it's that unrequited love that we also write about.
I wonder where the line is between
But
unrequited love and stalking.
Very fine line, I'm sure.
Oh my goodness! So are we doing the closings?
I have one more, but we can close. I'm good.
No, your choice.
Now we can go ahead and do our closings. Um,
So on Tuesday, welcome to the consequences of your actions. I love the consequences of your actions. Maybe not so much the consequences of my actions, but whatever. It's you did it to your damn self. At one point or another, we've all wondered how we got in a situation. It's easy to search for others to blame. I mean, it's not our fault this happened. It can't be. But oh, sweetie, sometimes it's our own doing. Can you name the times when it was your own damn fault? That is on Tuesday.
and on Thursday, everybody talk shit. It's so very true. From harmless chatter to reputation shattering rumors, we all have something to say, from expert advice to sarcastic wit. How do our words hit with families and friends? How do our own words land to others? Grab some sweet tea, let's head out to the porch and chat, because everybody talks shit.
Ain't that the truth?
Ain't it? So, you can find us everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You can hear us live on Thursdays or Tuesdays and Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern. Um, you can also gather up some time and listen to hours of us talking about a ton of subjects on prettysweetpodbean.com.
Prettysweet.podbean.com.
I always screw this up. I don't know why. And it's PRTTYSWEET, one word. Follow the red shoes, and you will find us. Um, you can listen to us everywhere too, and everywhere you hear a podcast, Apple Podcasts, um, Spotify. I always want to call it the other one. I don't know why. Amazon. Listen and hear the voices of us. Please leave your comments, leave some love, talk about us, talk about what we're talking about. Anything you want to say, we'd love to hear. Let's see. Did I forget anything? As we whisper.
Like, follow, share, leave your opinions and our opinions. Click all the hearts and show us some love. Yeah, so we have hundreds of hours, and just type in our Pretty Sweet and click on the red shoes and you'll find all our shit.
That's it. And of course, I had a lovely time.
We had a lovely time.
I was going to add, as well as Pretty Bird and Raconteur. We don't also had a lovely time. But if you did not, and we hope you did, but if you did not, you can, as we like to say, fuck
all the way off.
Yes. Good night, everyone.